Good morning. Good morning. My name is Priscilla Callahan. I'm the business teacher here at the Swifton Middle School, and I'd like to welcome you all to, this is our 4th year to honor our veterans. So I want to thank y'all for all coming out and joining us this morning. These students are what we call our leadership students. They are chosen by the faculty and administration as students who we see as being good leaders as they get older. I want to tell them I appreciate all their help. They have done a phenomenal job with this. So I want everybody to give them a round of applause for putting this on. Before we get started putting on this program every year, they go through a small study about the Congressional Medal of Honor, and it's through their character education program. And I believe Coach Dean is doing that in for the 5th and 6th grade as well. But there are 6 particular character traits that this educational program teaches. They are sacrifice, patriotism, commitment, integrity, courage, and citizenship. Those are things that we feel are important to the kids as they get older, that they will display outside of the school. I just want everybody to know that these kids have practiced on this stage twice with the microphones. The stage floor was refinished last week, so we were not able to get on the floor until Friday afternoon. I want to thank Mr. French and Mr. Jackson for their help getting up here so quickly. They are also live streaming this. So I want to thank them for helping set everything up so quickly, and we were able to get on the stage. Having said that, please forgive any mistakes or hiccups or technical difficulties we may have in this. For the first time, a lot of these kids this is the first time they've even been on stage. A lot of them, it's the first time they've even used a microphone. So they are all nervous, even some of them just kind of sitting out watching. They are nervous, so please show them some grace as they put this program on, saying their speeches, singing, reading their poems. Thank you to the community for always showing up and supporting us. And I'd also like to thank all the SMS staff, Mr. Roberts, for allowing us to work on this. We have a particular time in the afternoon designated for what we call enrichment and also interventions. And Mr. Roberts has graciously let these students get out of that for the past 2 weeks so that we are able to practice. We've been practicing in the lobby, getting all the decorations and everything ready. So thank you for allowing us that time. Okay, at this time, I will have Miss Braylon Dawson come up, and she will get this program started.
On behalf of the 7th grade leadership students and student council at Swifton Middle School, I would like If you are able, please stand as Chase Templeton and Bradley Felton enter with the American and state flags. They are being led by the Swifton preschool toddler class. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Braylon Slagley.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing while Riley Runyon and Case and Toddy sing the national anthem. You may now be seated.
Today we'd like to share the inspiring history behind our national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. This song is not just a melody, it's a powerful symbol of resilience and patriotism.
The story begins during the War of 1812, a conflict between the United States and Great Britain. On September 13, 1814, British forces attacked Fort McHenry in Baltimore, Maryland. As the bombardment raged on, a young lawyer named Francis Scott Key was aboard a British ship negotiating the release of a prisoner. He witnessed the relentless assault on the fort, and as dawn broke on September 14th, he was filled with hope when he saw the American flag still flying over the fort.
Inspired by the sight, Key penned the poem Defense of Fort McHenry, which captured his emotions and the determination of the American spirit. The poem was later set to the tune of a popular British song. It was published in 1814 and quickly gained popularity, becoming known as the Star-Spangled Banner.
In 1931, the Star-Spangled Banner was officially adopted as the national anthem of the United States, solidifying its place in American culture and history. The anthem not only celebrates the bravery displayed during the War of 1812, but also serves as a reminder of the enduring ideals of freedom and resilience.
Key's poignant words evoke a sense of pride and reflection, reminding us of the sacrifices made for our liberties. The anthem has become a staple at public events, serving as a unifying force of all Americans.
Phrases in the Star-Spangled Banner are rich in imagery and meaning. Let's break down some key lines and their significance.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light. This opening line invites listeners to witness the scene at dawn, symbolizing hope and renewal. The dawn's early light contrasts with the darkness of battle, suggesting a new beginning after turmoil of war.
What so proudly beheld at the twilight's last gleaming. Here, Key reflects the pride felt by Americans when they first saw the flag, an emblem of national identity before the battle began. The twilight's last gleaming evokes the memory of the flag's strength, serving as a reminder of resilience.
Whose broad and bright stars, the description of the American and highlights its distinct features. The broad stripes represents the original 13 colonies, while the bright stars symbolize the states together. They embody unity and diversity within the nation.
For the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. This line captures the scene at Fort McHenry where defenders watched the flag waving proudly despite the cannon fire. The phrases conveys a sense of vigilance and bravery, emphasizing the courage of those defending their home.
And the rockets were glared, the bombs bursting in air. These vivid images describe the battle itself as rockets were glared, bombs bursting, creating a stark picture of fierce fighting. It illustrates the danger faced by the soldiers, but also the intensity of their resolve.
Gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. This powerful line reassures that despite the chaos and destruction, the flag remains standing as a beacon of hope. It symbolizes survival and the enduring spirit of our nation through adversity.
For the land of the free and the home of the brave, the closing line encapsulates the anthem's essence, celebrating America as a land of freedom and bravery. It emphasizes national pride and the sacrifices made for liberty, uniting all who hear it under these idols.
Overall, the Star-Spangled Banner serves as both a tribute to the struggles of the past and a call to honor the freedoms we enjoy today. Its phrases resonate deeply, reminding us of the sacrifices made for our nation and the enduring spirit of its people.
Thank you for the women and men who have fought for our country.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service in serving our country.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, veterans, for saving my country.
Thank you, veterans, for saving our country.
Thank you for fighting for our country, and God bless all of you.
Thank you for your service and for saving my country.
Thank you for your service and bravery.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Thank you to all the veterans that made us free and made the country a better place. I thank you, and I hope you have a blessed day, and I hope your families are happy you came home after the war. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day.
The Missing Man table salutes the people who are unable to be with the people they love. They had friends and families. They had a life. Now they live on in our hearts. The table is round to show our everlasting concern for our missing men and women. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives on answering the call. The single red rose reminds us of the lives of these Americans and their loved ones and friends who keep the faith while seeking answers. The yellow ribbon symbolizes our continued determination to account for our missing. The slice of lemon reminds us of their sour and bitter fate, captured and missing in foreign land. A pinch of salt symbolizes the tears of our missing and their families who long for answers after decades of uncertainty. The lightened candle reflects our hope for their return, alive or dead. The Bible represents the strength gained through faith to sustain us and those lost from our country founded as one nation under God. The glass is inverted, symbolizing their inability to share a toast. The chair is empty, the seat that remains unclaimed at the table.
Proud to welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Steve Rockwell. He is a graduate of Arkansas State University. He graduated magna cum laude in university honors with a double major in philosophy and psychology and double minors in cognitive science and religious studies. He has a Master of Arts in political science, where he also graduated with honors. He was a professor of political science at ASU and taught U.S. government. He retired as a vice president of Corning Publishing Company. Mr. Rockwell is married to his wife, Dana, who is a vocational technical administrator at ASU Newport on the Jonesboro campus. They live in Jonesboro and are members of Blessed Sacrament Church. Mr. Rockwell and his wife are the proud parents of 2 daughters, and they have 7 grandchildren. Please welcome Mr. Steve Rockwell.
Okay. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak today in honor of the veterans. I also want to recognize our police, firefighters, and first responders, and on behalf of Mitch Worthington and all the veterans who wanted to say thank you to everyone for putting this on. So according to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, the term veteran applies to a person who served in the active military, naval, or air service, and who was discharged or released under conditions other than dishonorable. Veterans Day dates back to 1919. The holiday grew out of the commemoration of Armistice Day, when fighting between the Allied countries and Germany ended on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. It's been observed in one form or another since 1919, when then President Woodrow Wilson commemorated the first anniversary of the World War I armistice. It was officially recognized as a federal holiday in 1938 and became known as Veterans Day in 1954. Although I didn't serve in the military, I come from a family of veterans, most of whom saw combat. My grandfather served in World War I. All of my uncles and first cousins served in either World War II or the Korean War. My father was also a Korean War veteran, and my wife's Dana's father was a combat veteran of two wars, World War II and Korea. When I was young, our family lived in Arlington, Virginia, and my father served in the Navy and worked in the Pentagon under Admiral Arleigh Burke. We would often drive by Arlington Cemetery. The experiences that I have shared with the veterans over the years brought meaning and depth to my memories of the cemetery, which I remember as a vast field of white headstones. It's noteworthy that the purposes of Veterans Day and Memorial Day are different. Memorial Day is meant to honor all those who served and gave their lives for our country. Veterans Day honors all veterans, both living and dead, who served in times of war and in times of peace. On this important day, I want to share an amazing story about a couple of my friends, two outstanding Vietnam veterans, Jim Fulkerson and Bob Ingram. I traveled to Vietnam with Jim, Bob, and 12 other Marines that they served with. The initial trip that I made was in 2000, and we returned again in 2001. Jim and Bob served together in Suicide Charlie Company in Vietnam. Jim was commander of a platoon of about 42 Marines. Bob, also known as Doc Ingram, was attached to Jim's platoon as a Navy corpsman. Now, Navy corpsmen supply medical treatment to Marines both on and off the battlefield. Now, soldiers fight battles not only with their weapons, but they also fight with their hearts and minds. Michel de Montenay said that valor is stability, not of arms and legs, but of courage and a soul. Both Jim and Bob adhered to the core values of the Marine Corps: honor, courage, and commitment. The motto of the Marine Corps is Semper Fidelis, Latin for always faithful. The motto represents the bond between the Marines and their commitment to the success of their battles, the progress of the nation, and to their fellow Marines. Now, all service members take the oath of enlistment. They swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. They swear allegiance to the Constitution rather than a specific individual or political party. The core statement of the oath states, "I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic." When our service members defend the Constitution, they're fighting for all of us. Congressman Berry said to me one night that democracy hangs on by a fine thread, and that thread can break if we don't maintain it. Now, the term valor is used to describe boldness or determination in facing great danger, especially in battle, heroic courage, and bravery. These short stories that I'm about to recite describe acts of valor. On February 8th, a few years ago, Jim Fulkerson and I were visiting. He seemed kind of agitated. I asked him if he was okay, and he said, "It's February the 8th, and I said, "Yeah, well, February the 8th rolls around every year." He said, "You don't understand. Let me tell you about February the 8th, 1966. I listened carefully as Jim described a firefight in Vietnam. Suicide Charlie Company was ordered to reconnoiter a small rice paddy, or check out a small rice paddy, just west of the village of Phu Long 4 in North Vietnam. Jim's platoon was ambushed. They took fire from the hill and from a tree line. When the firefight began, Jim turned to give an order when a bullet whizzed by his chest and struck John Solly in the chest, killing him. Solly lunged forward and Jim caught the young Marine in his arms as Solly fell face down in the mud. Jim survived, but the memories of that battle stayed with him all of his life. Memories that haunted him in nightmares, never went away. Doc Ingram's canteens exploded from machine gun fire as he treated the Marines' bullet wounds and landmine injuries. Jim said, "Solly's bullet was meant for me." I said, "Jim, if it was your bullet, you would have been hit. You're here for a lot of reasons." My attempt to console Jim was futile. Gerald Stansel and Fred Nelson played harmonicas together in Vietnam. One evening, Gerald Stansel gave Freddie his harmonica and he said, "I don't think I'll be needing this anymore." Stansel was killed the next day in a Phu Long firefight. Jim was awarded the Bronze Star with the Combat V for Valor, and Corpsman Ingram received the Silver Star for his actions. The memories of February the 8th were always with Jim and Bob. The crucible of their battles formed an inseparable bond of brotherly love between those men. Later that evening, I asked Jim if he ever thought about going back to Vietnam. He said that he promised himself as he was boarding the plane that he would never go back. I said that I thought that he would, and if he ever did, I'd like to go back with him. He said, "Don't hold your breath." So less than a year later, in 2000, I got a call from Jim's son, Brian. He said, "You better pack your bag. My dad says you're committed to going to Vietnam." So as a philosopher, Soren Kierkegaard once said, "Life can only be understood backwards. It must be lived forwards." We can't see a fraction of a second into the future. Our only source of information is our past experiences. So the 15 Marines who returned to Vietnam in 2000 and again in 2001 saw beautiful landscapes and friendly people at peace. It's in sharp contrast to their vivid memories of bloody battlefields that they saw in 1966. The anticipation of returning to those battlefields left the Marines with bellyaches, nightmares, and flashbacks. Mac Farrick said that he feared being in Vietnam without a gun. So courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the willingness to advance in the face of fear. The Marines returned to their battlefields, and once again they courageously faced their fears. On March 28, 1966, during Operation Indiana, Charlie Company was attacked by a heavy weapons battalion of North Vietnamese regulars at the village of Vien Loc. 11 Marines were killed and many others were wounded, including Corpsman Bob Ingram, who suffered 4 gunshot wounds. Despite his wounds, Doc Ingram treated the wounded, gathered ammunition, and engaged the enemy. His team put him on a medevac helicopter. When he arrived at the Chu Lai base camp, he was such a mess that they put him on a dead pile. They discovered that he was alive when he started shouting. Jim was on leave in Japan and had just returned to Chu Lai base when he was told the Charlie Company was in heavy combat. So Jim hopped a ride on to the battlefield on a medevac helicopter. He wanted to be with his team. He spent the night on the hill, and the next day he led what was left of his men away from the battlefield. For his action on the battlefield during Operation Indiana, Navy Corpsman Bob Ingram was recommended for the Congressional Medal of Honor, which is the nation's highest military award for valor. It is presented by the President in Congress's name. However, in the chaos and the aftermath of the battle, that paperwork was lost. It's said that adversity reveals character. It does not create character. Doc and Jim and their fellow Marines moved forward to overcome adversity regardless of the challenges. So after 29 years, Jim and Bob met at Orange Beach, Alabama. and Jim asked Doc what commendation he received for Operation Indiana. Doc told Jim that he received a Purple Heart. Jim said, "We recommended you for the Medal of Honor." And Doc said, "That's the first I've heard of it. I didn't expect anything. I was just doing my job." So during a White House ceremony on July 10th, 1998, over 31 years after Operation Indiana, the Congressional Medal of Honor was presented to Hospital Corpsman Robert R. Ingram by President Bill Clinton. Jim was there along with over 20 of the men that they served with in Vietnam. Robert Doc Ingram had his own personal Medal of Honor challenge coin invented with the inscription, "It's not about me, it's about the team." Medals are awarded, they are not won. They are received. Doc Ingram is a Medal of Honor recipient. There are no winners in combat. According to the Congressional Medal of Honor Society, there are only 60 living Medal of Honor recipients today. The freedoms that our Constitution guarantees can be taken from us unless we protect it. We are forever indebted to our veterans whose courageous sacrifices to protect and defend our country and its Constitution. Whether in peacetime or in war, all service members swear the oath of enlistment. So what can we do to show appreciation for our veterans going forward? I offer this as a suggestion. Wherever you encounter a veteran, whether it's in a restaurant, while you're shopping, at a ball game, look the veteran in the eyes, shake their hand, and simply say, "Thank you for serving our country." It will let them know that we're all in this together. They get it. To our veterans in the audience, thank you for serving our country, and thank all of you for the honor of speaking today.
For more than 200 years, the American flag has been the symbol of our nation's unity, as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. The flag folding ceremony represents the same religious principles on which our great country was originally founded. The first fold of our flag is the symbol of life. The second fold is the symbol of our belief in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the veteran departing our ranks, and who gave a portion of his or her life for the defense of our country to attain peace throughout the world. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature. As American citizens trusting in God, it is Him we turn to in times of peace, as well as in times of war, for His divine guidance. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country. In the words of Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is for where our hearts lie. It is with our hearts that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is a tribute to our armed forces, for it is through the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all enemies, whether they can be found within or without the boundaries of our republic. The eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we might see the light of day, and to honor our mother for whom it flies on Mother's Day. The ninth fold is a tribute to womanhood. It has been through their faith, love, loyalty, and devotion that has molded the character of the men and women who have made this country great. The 10th fold is a tribute to Father, who has given his sons and daughters for the defense of our country since he or she was first born. The 11th fold represents the lower portion of the seal of King David and King Solomon and glorifies the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12th fold represents an emblem of eternity and glorifies God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. The 13th and last fold
When the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our national motto, "In God We Trust."
We would now like to recognize all the veterans that are attending this morning's program. For several weeks, students and staff of Swifton Middle School, along with community members, have been donating money to purchase medals to honor those veterans with us today. When the war in which you fought is called, please stand to accept your medal. World War II. The Korean War. The Vietnam War. The Persian Gulf War. Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. Operation Iraqi Freedom. Will the veterans who served during peacetime please stand to accept your medal? Okay. Let's give all these other men and women another round of applause.
All right, thank you. I'm Kylie Roberts. I'm the principal here at Swifton Middle School. I have the privilege of giving some closing remarks, and it's just one of thanks. First of all, I want to thank everybody that showed up here today to help celebrate our veterans. I want to thank our school board and our superintendent, Mr. Shannon, for everything that they do for our veterans program. Anything we need, they do not waver. They love supporting this program and this community. Thank Mr. Justin Best for lending us his 1952 Willis Jeep out front. It's a great piece to go out there and look at if you get an opportunity. But also, I want to thank our students up here on stage and Ms. Callahan for their hard work this week. And this program, it starts weeks in advance, and then we have our students that are in the back that are watching it, that are going to be up here next year, and they enjoy this. They love giving back to the community and to our veterans, and they do such a great job. So if we could just give them a round of applause. But lastly, I just want to thank our veterans, our servicemen and women of our armed forces. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your bravery. Thank you for standing up when others would sit. Thank you for fighting. You know, your sacrifice has provided a blanket of freedom that everybody in this room, everybody in this county, state, nation, nations around the world have slept under. Thank you for that. Thank you for your service.
I Am a Veteran by Andrea Christensen Brett. You may not know me the first time we meet. I'm just another you see on the street. But I am the reason you walk and breathe free. I am the reason for your liberty. I am a veteran. I work in the local factory all day. I own the restaurant just down the way. I sell you insurance. I'll start your IV. I've got the best looking grandkids you'll ever see. I'm your grocer, your banker, your child's school teacher. I'm your plumber, your barber, your family's preacher. But there's a part of me you don't know very well. Just listen a moment. I've got a story to tell. I am a veteran. I joined the service while still in my teens. I traded my prom dress for camouflage greens. I'm the first in my family to do something like this. I followed my father like he followed his. Defying my fears and hiding my doubt, I married my sweetheart before I shipped out. I missed Christmas, then Easter, the birth of my son, but I knew I was doing what had to be done. I served on the battlefront, I served on the base. I bound up the wounded and begged for God's grace. I gave orders to fire, I followed commands. I marched into conflict in far distant lands. In the jungle, the desert, on mountains and shores, in bunkers, in tents, on dank earthen floors. While I fought on the ground, in the air, on the sea, my family and friends were home praying for me. For the land of the free and the home of the brave, I faced my demons in foxholes and caves. Then one dreaded day, without drummer or fife, I lost an arm. My buddy lost his life. I came home and moved on, but forever was changed. The perils of war in my memory remain. I don't really say much, I don't feel like I can, but I left home a child and came home a man. There are thousands like me, thousands more who are gone, but their legacy lives as time marches on. White crosses and rows, in rank, scarfed and queue, remind us of what these brave souls had to do. I'm part of a fellowship, a strong mighty band, of each man and each woman who serves this great land. And when Old Glory waves, I stand proud, I stand tall, I helped keep her flying over you, overall. I am a veteran.
This time I would like to recognize one student who you don't see. He's back here. He is responsible for the slideshow and the technical stuff. James Wheat, if we could give him a round of applause. Mr. Roberts mentioned the Jeep outside. Mr. Justin Best, who is one of our school board members, it is on loan from him, and he did send me a little history about it, so I want to touch on that just a second. It is a 1952 Willys Jeep. It served in the 27th Infantry Regiment, known as the Wolfhounds. This Jeep has been to Japan, Hawaii, and the Philippines. It belonged to the 25th Infantry Division while it was in Hawaii as part of Tropic Lightning. So please, as you're leaving, go out there and look at it. It's pretty neat, and it has a little bit of history with it. So thank you, Mr. Justin Best, for bringing that this morning. I also want to invite all of the veterans and can bring a guest to the Swifton Community Center on Main Street. The City of Swifton has been gracious enough the past few years to serve a meal for the veterans. The kids and I will be up there in a little while. We'll be serving you, so by the time you can take pictures and get up there, I believe the menu this year is like home cooked, like chicken and dumplings and mashed potatoes and good Southern food. Thank you all for being in attendance. And at this time, if we will please stand as Caleb Miller and Jackson Worthington lead our dismissal with the American and Arkansas flags. After they leave, you may be dismissed. Thank you for coming.